Well, welcome back to another week of uh, walking through the book of Job. And actually, this week we're going to finish the book of Job. Today, looking at covering chapters 27 through 31, and this is Job's final speech. Again, as we've gone through Job, he just will not give up his claim of innocence. He hasn't sinned. He hasn't wronged widows. He hasn't taken advantage of those who have less than him. He's used his, um, prosperity, his blessing to bless others. Has been his claim throughout, and still his friends have just charged him with he's sinned in some way. He's endured all sorts of accusations. And again, here I'm going to say bad theology badly applied, but really some of the theology they have isn't all bad. It's, again, one of the themes, a key theme of the book of Job is what Job and his friends fail to remember is they're not God. They don't know everything God does. And the world is more complex than what they're giving credit for. I mean, Job agrees with his friends. Yeah, God will repay evil to the evildoer, and he will bless the righteous. But what Job starts articulating in ways that God plays the long game, not the short game. And what I mean by that is, that may not happen immediately. So if suffering is happening, it doesn't mean there was an immediate sin. It doesn't mean that, if you do something that's good, that blessing comes right away. God's looking at the long term. God's moving, more about the future than about necessarily the immediate present. Chapter 28, Job talks a lot about wisdom, and he looks around, or he's just kind of reflecting that, humanity can do amazing things. And he talks about like mining. It's like we can go into the earth and we can, bring out metals, and then you can make all sorts of amazing, wonderful items and art with them. But humanity can't find wisdom on its own. Humanity can't craft wisdom on its own. Humanity can't buy wisdom. Wisdom only comes to Job from fear of the Lord, by forsaking, putting aside evil in our lives. And that phrase, fear of the Lord, can be one that's sometimes misunderstood. We'll likely talk about it again when we get to Proverbs very soon. But fear of the Lord is putting God before everything else. That fear is like that highest allegiance, what you have the most respect, awe of, what is, if there's competing values or competing commands, the one you fear the most is the one that you listen to when there's that competition. It's what your highest allegiance is to, because you have the most respect for. And so it's not fear as in dread, or fear as in I'm frightened of. It's more that respect kind of fear that that's not the primary way we use fear in English, but that's the sense of that was meant in the wisdom literature in the Old Testament. Job, he just remembers the good old days when he was blessed by God, when life made sense, when he was able to operate with that simple view of, I'm doing good, God's being good to me, yay world, everything's making sense. When he blessed others in need, but now Job is feeling like he's being mocked by those he blessed in the past. I mean, imagine just how it would feel if in a previous season of life you had some abundance in some way, or you blessed someone in a particular way, and then you're now in need, you're now suffering, and the one that you blessed with kindness or friendship, or you gave a gift to, you not even a loan, you just said no, just take it and keep it, and now you're in need and they're mocking you, or they're kind of turning their backs on you. But it's more than just that, because for Job, it's though this is God doing this to him. At least that's what Job is inclined to believe. I mean, there's no other answer that makes sense to Job, but Job can't figure out why. This doesn't this isn't fair. But Job's stuck in this place. And when you're stuck in a place you don't want to be, when life's not making sense, when life isn't feeling fair, when you can't see a way out, it can be hard to hold on to hope. And that's where Job is seeing himself going to. And so Job goes to what he knows. And we see at the end of this speech, Job says, I know that God knows my life, my character. Job says, I know, Job. Ooh, I was going to come out at least once during this book, let's be honest. Job knows that God is just and that God will treat Job that way. And so, because of God's character, despite the circumstances, Job is going to still rely on God. He's not going to do what his wife said to do in chapter 2. Curse God and die. Why hold on to your integrity? Job's like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm not happy about it. God, I'd really like an answer from you, but I'm not going to turn from you. And that's a good reminder to us. And that's part of what we can take from this book of wisdom, especially as we continue and see the rest of the story. But it's a reminder to us to ask ourselves the question, even now. You might be experiencing good times right now, even in the midst of COVID, and restrictions are easing and all these kind of things, and hope for brighter days. But what are we called to rely on? What are we called to put our hope in? What are we called to base our joy in? It's not our circumstances. It's the character of God. And the character of God was the same yesterday when we were in the tightest of restrictions, as it will be tomorrow when we have no restrictions, and that God's character is the same today. Whether it's COVID restrictions, health limitations, financial, barriers that are up, whatever our circumstances, God's character, he is just, he is good. And he is covenanted through Jesus to be with you, for you, unto your very best. May the Lord bless you and keep you today. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace, because he is our Prince of Peace. God bless.